StrayAllDay.com.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is we are getting into the next part of our series here on false beliefs that you have around money that are keeping you broke, either making you broke or keeping you broke, one or the other. Either way is not good. Before we get started, let me remind everybody I have a text message that I send out free of charge every single day to everybody in my text community. This message is guaranteed. Let me tell you what this is going to do. I'm going to sell you on this. It's guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point to start your day. Now that I've sold you, let me tell you what it's called. It's called the Daily Motivation. And now here's what you got to do to get it. Text me at my number, 305-384-6894. And every day when the Daily Motivation text goes out, because you're a member of my text community, you'll be receiving that message every day. You can even respond to those messages, and you might get a response back from me. I don't respond to every single message I get. So if you're a member of my text community, you're not always going to get a response, but you might get a response if you just text back. But you'll be getting that message every day, guaranteed. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. Now, if you want to get a response from me all the time from when you send me a message, and you want to get answers to your questions, and you want to get help with your challenges, then what you need to do is join Work on Your Game University by going to workonyourgameuniversity.com. That is where I do all of my coaching. That is where all of my courses are. That is where you get access to all of my deepest frameworks and all of my deepest game that will help you take yourself where you want to go, whether on the personal side or on the business side. But you got to be a member of the university. Again, that's at workonyourgameuniversity.com. All that said, let's get into the topic here. We are on I believe this is part 4 of this series. That is the false beliefs you have around money that are making or keeping you broke. Number 10, I don't like talking about money. This is a false belief. Well, it's not actually a false belief. So this is kind of a misnomer to be here in this series. But I'm putting it in here and there. I don't like talking about money. Now, I understand that some of you don't like talking about money. This is a real thing. And you may have very good reasons for not liking to talk about money. Maybe you grew up around people who were uncomfortable with money, people who were bad with money, people who never had any money, people who have been handed negative mindsets around money themselves. So they had no choice but to do what? Hand those same negative mindsets to you. So again, this stuff is hereditary in a tongue-in-cheek type of way because they just pass it down to you. Therefore, you don't want to talk about money because it stirs up what? The same negative feelings and emotions that you got around other people, you got from the people around you when it came to money. I'll give you an example because I'm a person who, many of these things that I'm bringing up here are things that I had to go to work to undo in my own mind. So these are not things that I'm just talking to you from some high position. I had to go through and fix these things because once I realized these were in my way, I knew if I didn't do anything about them, they would stay in my way. So I remember once when I was this probably had to be middle school. There was some kind of like a fair or something like a school fair where there'd be like games and like an amusement park basically built in the middle of the playground at school. And my mom gave me some money to go to the fair. And it might have been in this situation. It doesn't matter. Either way, she gave me some money. And it wasn't a whole bunch of money. It had to be like $10, $20, maybe couldn't have been any more than that, $10 or $20. And I remember I came home that day and my mom was asking me, well, how did it go at the fair? And I said to her, because I wasn't paying that much attention to the money, I wasn't counting it properly, or probably the math I was doing in my head was wrong. I felt like I had maybe lost some money because I simply wasn't keeping track of the money that I had spent. Because I had like $15, but then by the end of the day, I only had like $4, but I wasn't really keeping track of how much I had spent, but I probably spent it. And I said, well, I think I might have lost some money. That's what I said to her. Now, mind you, the amount that she gave me couldn't have been any more than $20. So if I had lost anything, the only amount I could have lost was $20. That's the most I could have possibly lost. That's all that I could have possibly had. And my mom's reaction when I said I think I might have lost some money was like, she went into like this rage. She was like, how much money? She like screamed it, how much money? And I didn't know because if I knew how much I had lost, then I'd be able to say it. I didn't know, and I might not have lost any money, but her reaction was she got so negative immediately when I just said that I think I might have lost some money. And I'm using that anecdote to illustrate that sometimes not sometimes, but some of you may have some negative emotions and negative feelings and negative mindsets around money simply because the people around you, that's all they had. So what could you learn but what you got from the people around you? So here's the truth. You usually will not get better at something unless you are willing to get conscious and intentional about that thing, which requires you facing it and talking about it. So any of you who has this mindset of, I don't like talking about money, you need to fix that. You need to do something about that immediately, because if you're not willing to talk about money, you probably are not going to make more money. I talked about this in episode 2620. It is about the money. That's the name of it. That's the title of the episode. It's about the money. You're not willing to talk about money, you're probably not going to make more of it. Because how you going to make it? You ain't willing to talk about it. Nobody's going to give it to you. Somebody's just going to walk up to you and give you money. You don't want to talk about it. All right. So you got to be willing to face things and talk about them if you want to fix them or improve at them or get better at them or just use them, exploit them in any way, shape, or form. Now, I would bet, I don't know this as a fact, but I would bet, and so maybe one of you can verify this for me. This is something that a therapist would say to one of their patients in the middle of a consultation. Listen, I understand that was a traumatic situation or this has been a challenge for you in life, but if you're not willing to talk about it, then we can't do anything about it. We can't fix it if you won't talk about it, right? Isn't that something that sounds like something a therapist would say, right? Again, one of you can confirm, verify that for me or refute it. We can't improve anything that we will not address. Simple as that. Talk to the 3 people who you know are the best at generating or making money in your life. 3 people who, I'm just taking notes on something that just crossed through my mind. 1 second. Talk to the 3 people who you know who are best at generating money, best at making money. Who are they? Think about those 3 people. And I want you to talk to those people and ask them the question: how comfortable are you talking about money? Just talking about money, period. Whether you're just talking about how you use it, how you make it, whether you want to talk about your ideas and practices and habits with it, just the concept of talking about money, period. Ask them how comfortable they are just talking about money in any way, shape, or form. Listen to their answers and then compare their answers to your thoughts about talking about money. And ask yourself if you notice a difference. And I'm telling you that to say this. And any of you who has the issue of you don't like talking about money, I guarantee you there are some serious differences between how they like to talk about money and your feelings and your comfort level talking about money. So we know there's going to be a difference. Here's the thing. If you want to get to the level of being one of the 3 people that someone else knows as a person who is able to generate money, you want to be somebody else's, one of their 3, all right, you got to be willing to talk about money. And you have to look at, all you got to do is, what's the word I'm looking for here? Model the habits of the people who you see. I said, think of the 3 people you know who are the best at generating money and ask them how comfortable they are talking about money. And they're going to tell you what their comfort level is. And if your comfort level isn't matching theirs, then how are you ever going to get to that level? If you're not modeling the behavior of the people who are already where you want to be. And this is a simple way to create success in any aspect of life, is look at people who already have the success that you want, look at their behaviors, and you can model what they did. Look at what they did and do the same thing. Simple as that. So if they're comfortable talking about money and you're not, how are you going to get to their level? Well, the answer is you won't. That's a trick question. Point number 11. We are talking here today about the false beliefs you have around money that are keeping you broke. Number 11. I cannot afford to save or invest any money right now. Now, as a person who works in the professional and personal development space, I hear this all the time from people. And one of the reasons is because I work in a space that what I'm offering is something that most people would consider a luxury item. This is a luxury thing that you're getting. You don't need it. I mean, this is not food, clothing, shelter. You wouldn't die if you did not invest in your personal or professional development. You could still live happily ever after and die however you're going to die without ever investing a single penny in personal or professional development. So it's relatively easy for somebody to say, well, I can't afford to invest anything into this type of thing. So when I say invest, I don't necessarily mean you invest and you go buy into a company or you buy a stock or you buy some CDs or something like that. They could also be investing in something that is going to help make you a more valuable individual, like signing up for a course or hiring a coach or buying a ticket to a conference. Those are investments as well. Or just saving money, just putting some money aside. Many people say they can't afford to do these things right now. This is the most common reason, excuse people have for staying in the same place all of their lives, whether we're talking about money or anything else, that they can't afford to do it right now because they got all these other things going on. The framework for this reason or excuse is the following. I don't have the resources to do something that would allow me to have more resources. And I'm leaving that 5-second pause in there on purpose because I want that to sink in, because there are people listening to me right now who use this excuse. Some of you have used this excuse today. All right, you're listening. You in the last 24 hours, you used this excuse, whether you thought it or you said it out loud or you typed it. I don't have the resources to do something that will position me to have more resources. I don't have the energy to work out, but even though working out would help me have more energy. I don't have the money to invest in myself, even though investing in myself would position me to have more money. All right. I don't have the time to do this thing that will position me to have more time. So you got this circular reasoning, but you're actually going backwards in the circle. All right. Many of you have used this on it so religiously you don't even realize that you're doing it. It'd be like somebody saying something like, I'm embarrassed about the fact that I don't have muscles. So I don't want to go to the gym and lift weights because everybody at the gym has more muscles than me. Well, that's circular reasoning, because you can't ever fix the issue of not having muscles because you want to go to the gym and lift weights because you're embarrassed because everybody has more muscles than you. Well, that's the reason why you need to go to the gym in the first place. So we talked about this, by the way. And let me give you another example. Somebody's saying, well, I don't have a lot of knowledge, so I don't want to take a course because I'd be embarrassed at the fact that I don't have a lot of knowledge. I don't want to go and join this coaching program because I'd probably be the dumbest person in the program because I have the least amount of success. So I'm not going to join the program. That's the exact reason why you need to join the program. The excuse is the reason. I talked about this in episode 25-26. Your excuse is your reason. So any of you who have a excuse, most of you probably don't call your excuses. So let's say you call them a reason. Your reason for not doing something is the exact reason why you need to do it. You don't have money to get involved in this thing that will help you make more money. That's the exact reason why you need to do it, so that you never have the issue of not having money again. All right, how long do you want to keep having this issue of not having money? Because if you walk away from this opportunity and don't do anything, well, guess what? You didn't have money when you walked in here, and you still don't have any money when you walked out. So what did you come for? So you just showed up to stay in the same space? And this is what a whole bunch of people do. And listen, let's be honest here. Right? This is what we do here at Work on Your Game. I'm talking about some of you who are listening to me right now. You show up somewhere in a circumstance that you don't want to be in, and then when it's time for you to possibly do something different to get yourself out of that circumstance, you say, well, I can't do anything to get out of the circumstance because I'm in the circumstance. That's the exact fucking reason why you need to do it. Nothing's going to change if you keep giving yourself the same reason over and over again. The excuse is the reason. And again, many of you don't call your quote unquote reasons excuses, but that's what they are. They're excuses. Anytime you're telling yourself, well, I'm not going to do this thing so that I can stay in the same situation that I'm in, that's an excuse. Because all you're doing is basically giving yourself permission to stay in the same situation when it's a situation that you have already decided that you don't want to be in, but you're going to stay in it anyway because you don't want to do the thing that will possibly make you a little bit uncomfortable. I just told you in the previous episode of this series that there are ways that you can get started as an investor, for example, with $5. All right, you got $5? Okay, so you can be an investor. You got $5, you can save. All right, so any of you saying that you don't have the resources to invest, so you're not going to do anything, so you're going to stay in the same space, the fact that you're even talking about it means you're thinking about it, which means you probably need to do something, and you know you need to do something. But if you keep giving yourself the excuse that, well, I'm not going to do anything because I don't have much, well, you're going to continue to not have much. And as time goes on, you're going to have less, and less. And then what's going to happen is you're going to be a bitter old person thinking about all the things you could have did, but you didn't have the courage to do something because you were unwilling to get uncomfortable. You allowed the inertia to control you. And that's a sad story. All right, we don't want that to happen. And by the way, being that you're listening to this show and you're in the Work on Your Game world, I want to have it on my track record that you got this message but didn't do anything about it. So yes, I'm going to pound this message and I'm going to continue talking about this. This will not be the last that you hear of it. Moving on to point number 12. We are talking here today about the false beliefs that are keeping you broke. Number 12. I don't have a high paying job, or my business is not generating that much money right now, and I'm not the quote unquote business person type, whatever the hell that means. All right, this is another false belief that people tell themselves, and then they even go as far as to say this to other people, as to give themselves an excuse to do nothing. Well, listen, I'm sure anybody who has a job will love that job to be a high paying job. And I'm sure anybody with a business will love that business to produce 10 times more money than it's producing right now. Hey, including myself. Understand that you don't have to have a high paying job to generate a lot of money. You can make money in multiple ways. I talk to people all the time these days. Everybody talks about, well, I want to have all these streams of income. These days, everybody, I guess it has been widely accepted by many people, 7 streams of income. I hear this all the time. Jerry, I need to have 7 streams of income. I need more streams of income. I want to create other streams of income. I want to get into real estate. I want to buy in a property and use it for Airbnb. I want to get into financial investing. I hear those 3 things like 3 times a day. Somebody, they want to do those 3 things. They want to get into some kind of real estate. They want to get into Airbnb hosting, and they want to do some type of financial investing. Again, 3 times a day. So any of you listening to this, you think I'm talking about you, I am, but I'm not. All right, you got company. All right, here's the thing. As a matter of fact, a high-paying job could actually be a very risky position to be in, even if you had one, because a high-paying job can drop you at any time. Same way they hired you, they can fire you. Then you have no job and no income and a lifestyle to support. Now, unless, of course, you've been doing other things with your money, such as investing. So you see how all these pieces start to work together? See, if you have a job, you have a financial asset. That asset is the fact you have a steady paycheck, regardless of how much they're paying you. Steady paycheck is an asset. And that paycheck can be leveraged into other assets and opportunities that you can use to generate money for yourself outside of your job. And there are people who actually they specialize in this specific area. And anybody with a job should be looking to leverage your position to do other things, because you don't control your employment. That's the reason why you should do it. All right. And this is not even financial advice. This is just simple. Simple deductive reasoning. You don't control your job, which means your job can drop you whenever they feel like it, regardless of how much money you're making. As a matter of fact, the more money you're making, the more at risk you are of being dropped from your job, because you're costing the company more money the more you make. Any of you who has a high paying job, whatever that means to you, you know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, this should be at the front of your mind on a consistent basis, because they can get rid of you just as easily as they brought you in. Now, of course, there are things that you can do that kind of lock you in more, but everybody you get the spirit of what I'm saying here. You get the general point of what I'm saying here. If you are making any amount of money steadily at a job, you should put some money aside. I don't care if it's $5, we'll just keep coming back to that $5 number. Put money aside into other vehicles besides just your bank account, besides just paying bills. All right. And again, I can tell you how to get started in easy, simple ways. Just send me a text message. My number is down below in the description. So any of you who's in this situation where you are, this last point here, you don't have a high paying job, again, whatever that high paying means to you. And these days, when I hear from people, people have this Mendoza line at the 6-figure level. So $100,000 is a high paying job. Anything less than that is not a high paying job. And even entrepreneurs are aiming at that $100,000 level. Again, 100,000 and it's like, you made it and everything's done. Okay, maybe. Depends on your lifestyle. It depends on what other things you are responsible for financially outside of that. The whole point is you want to have other ways of generating money, regardless of how much you're making now at your current situation. And again, the more you're making from one thing, the more dangerous the situation is, because you could have everything pulled out from underneath you. And depending on the lifestyle that you're living based on that money, that maybe puts you in a more pernicious situation than others. But anyway, all that said, let's recap today's class, which is I believe this is part 4 of false beliefs that are keeping you broke. Number 10, I don't like talking about money. Understand, just like a therapist will tell you, we can't address anything that you are unwilling to talk about. So you need to get comfortable talking about it, even if you're uncomfortable. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Number 11, I can't afford to save or invest money right now. This is negative circular reasoning. I don't have this thing, so I'm not going to do anything that would allow me to have that thing that keeps you in the same space. This is the main reason why many people don't change in life, because they come up with bullshit reasons that sound good that are actually excuses to stay in the same space. And number 12, I don't have a high paying job. I'm not the business person type. My business is not generating that much money right now. Understand, everybody wants to make more money in their business, but understand, no matter what your situation, how much you're making right now, you need to be putting some money aside and doing other things financially for yourself and with yourself, such that if anything does happen to your job or your business, you have other ways of doing things, or at least you know of other ways of doing things. But if you only been focused on one and that something happens to that one, now what? One is the most dangerous number in business, by the way. We'll talk about that at a different time. All that said, text me the best point. Tell me the best point you got from today's class. My number is 305-384-6894. And Work on Your Game University. That is where you can get coached by me. That's where you get access to all my courses. And you also get my 2 physical mailings I send out every month. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre, all